Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and to those that are watching via live stream. And we appreciate your attention this morning. Sorry, we're a minute or two getting late, but just a word or two about our current situation here in Macon-Bibb County and throughout the state of Georgia, across the nation, and around the world. We all continue to cope with the infectious disease caused by the coronavirus, now known as COVID-19, coronavirus infectious disease number 19. This disease, similar in some respects to the flu, is an upper respiratory viral infection accompanied by fever, shortness of breath, coughing, and body aches. The COVID-19 is different from the flu in that it is much more contagious, apparently, than previously thought, and can actually be spread, and people can be infected by a carrier who is not exhibiting any of the symptoms that I just mentioned to you, even during the incubation period. And despite our efforts to date, COVID-19 continues to spread, especially in hot pockets throughout Georgia, across the nation, and around the world. Modeling and projections by the Department of Health, the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, and others suggest, unfortunately, that this situation will get worse before it gets better. And while most people who are infected with this disease will be able to cope with it, there are some of our more vulnerable citizens, especially the elderly or those with predisposing underlying medical conditions, that can be seriously affected, gravely ill, or even die as a result of contracting this. There is no known vaccine. There is no known cure at this point for COVID-19. And CDC and others are working furiously to try to develop those vaccines and treatment protocols. But right now, we still rely mostly on trying to slow or stop the spread of the vaccine. That will require the efforts of each of us, individually and collectively, to modify our behavior, to practice social distancing, and to take certain common sense precautions to protect ourselves, our families, and, as I said earlier, our most vulnerable citizens. To that end, we issued a local health care emergency order back on March the 23rd, but as of today, the governor has issued an order that will be effective later this evening, and will preempt our local order. The governor's order prohibits us locally from enacting any other order which does more or less than the governor's order does. We fully support the governor and his order, and we encourage all of our residents and citizens to voluntarily comply with both the letter and the spirit of the governor's executive order. The governor's order is quite comprehensive. It basically, first and foremost, orders all of us to continue to practice social distancing and sanitation hygiene. Secondly, it prohibits gatherings of 10 or more people at a single location where the people are required to sit or stand within 6 feet of one another. And this, I understand, would include churches and funeral services as well. Thirdly, the order requires all residents and visitors to the state of Georgia to stay home, except in four categories of activity. First, if you are participating in essential services, or secondly, if you are performing necessary travel. Thirdly, if you are engaged in minimum basic operations for businesses that are not classified as critical infrastructure, or fourthly, if you are working in critical infrastructure and going to and from that work. These four broad exceptions to the stay-at-home order are further outlined and detailed in the governor's order, and certainly I would recommend a thorough analysis of the governor's order to you. We are indebted to the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia and to the Georgia Municipal Association for providing us with their summary and review that I'll share with you at this point. Essential services means acquiring what you need to keep your household going. Therefore, an essential service is going to the grocery store, going to the pharmacy, going to the hardware store if your toilet breaks, if you've got a problem, if your air conditioning goes down and needs some repair. Those are classified as essential services. So first and foremost, I want to urge everyone not to make a run on the grocery store and to try to stock up with 2 weeks worth of stuff. You don't need to do that. You are allowed under the governor's order to go back and forth as necessary to the grocery store, pharmacy, other retail outlets to get what you need to keep your household going. So that's first, and all of that is under the essential services exception. Secondly, necessary travel, as I've just outlined, means getting in your car, going back and forth to the grocery store, to the pharmacy. Thirdly, minimum basic operations basically are retail activities as well as working outdoors in those industries that are not considered to be essential infrastructure. Minimum basic operations means doing what you need to do to keep your business open and protect the value of the business, but you are required to and urged as an individual business owner to take steps to maintain social distancing or physical distancing between people that are visiting your establishment and taking other precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Next, going to and from work in critical infrastructure is an exception to the governor's stay-at-home order. So going to and from work and working in critical infrastructure, and basically speaking, critical infrastructure is a lot of manufacturing, it is a lot of retail, it is a lot of other activities that are considered essential. And the governor has given the Georgia Department of Economic Development the authority to classify and categorize those businesses that constitute essential critical infrastructure. But for us, it means government operations. We are part of the essential infrastructure, and to continue to operate over the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or however long we do, we are taking steps to continue to operate and provide essential government services to all of our citizens and residents. There are, however, a number of businesses that are specifically ordered to be closed under the governor's order. Restaurants are ordered to be closed with the exception of takeout orders, curbside, and delivery. But in-house dining at the restaurants is prohibited. Certain other businesses that require close contact of individuals are specifically listed and ordered closed by the governor's order, and they would include bars, nightclubs, gymnasiums, fitness centers, bowling alleys, theaters, live performance venues, amusement parks, personal care services such as body waxing, threading, eyelash extension, cosmetics, hair design, barbers, body art studios, commonly known as tattoo parlors, cosmetology schools, hair design schools, barbering schools, aesthetics schools, nail care schools, and licensed massage therapists are all ordered closed during the period that this order is effective by the governor. Obviously, this mandatory closure of the establishments that I just listed causes an extreme financial hardship on the owners of those establishments as well as the employees there. But this economic hardship is one that Congress has recently tried to address and has taken steps to provide assistance in that regard. And at this point, I'll call on our Director of Small Business Affairs, Sam Henderson, to come up and talk a little bit more about the relief that can be available through the Small Business Administration and unemployment insurance. Mr. Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, over the last couple of weeks or so, we have received a large number of calls and inquiries about what am I going to do? How am I going to stay in business? What's going to happen? Well, the SBA, the Small Business Administration, has really stepped up to the plate. And so today I'd like to just kind of answer some of the questions that have come to our office. And so today we'll talk about 4 different programs that are available starting today, as a matter of fact, April the 3rd. We'll talk a little bit about the Paycheck Protection Program, the Economic Disaster Injury Loan, the Economic Disaster Injury Loan Advance, and the SBA debt relief. So starting with the Paycheck Protection Program, well, you might say, well, Sam, who can apply for this? Well, first of all, it is a program that incentivizes small businesses to keep their workers on the payroll. And small businesses with 500 employees or with less than 500 employees, and this also includes sole proprietorships, independent contractors, self-employed persons, even private nonprofit organizations. And those small businesses that are in the food and hospitality industry that may have more than one location, they have set it up so that they can apply on a location-by-location basis as long as each location doesn't have more than 500 employees. This means that each store or location is eligible. And one might ask, well, how do you apply? Well, for this particular loan, you can apply through an existing SBA 7A lender. Well, Sam, what's an SBA 7A lender? A 7A lender is a banking institution that is already lending small business loans where the SBA is the guarantor of the loan. You can go to any one of those and they will allow you to complete paperwork. Also, you can go to any FDIC or federally insured bank, or even if your credit union is federally insured, you can also apply through your credit union. And if you have a lender and you've already gotten a loan, you might want to ask your lender if they're participating in this program. And there is a process for them to actually join this process so that your loan would be considered as well. The lenders actually started today processing applications, April 3rd. The biggest question that I've gotten regarding this particular loan is the loan forgiveness. At first I didn't really know about it, so I started to do my research, and this loan has a maturity of 2 years and an interest rate of 0.5%. The loan will be fully forgiven if all employees are kept on the payroll for 8 weeks, and the funds are used to either pay payroll costs, interest on mortgages, rent, and utilities. But 75% of it must be used for payroll. And this forgiveness, one might say, well, Sam, what if I've already laid off my employees? Well, the forgiveness is based on the employer either maintaining or quickly rehiring employees, and maintaining salary levels. Forgiveness will be reduced if full-time headcount declines or if salaries and wages decrease. So you've got to try to keep them at the levels where they are now if they're still employed or where they were before you laid them off. This loan, once you receive the loan, the payments are deferred for 6 months. There is no collateral or personal guarantees that are required. Now, for this loan, the government will not ask lenders, they shouldn't charge you any fee for applying, and even the banks shouldn't charge you an application fee. So there's further information on that particular loan at sba.gov. The next one we'll talk about is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Same thing, who can apply? Well, small businesses with 500 employees or less. This also includes sole proprietorships, independent contractors, self-employed persons, private nonprofit organizations, and even 501c19 organizations, which are veterans organizations, which may have been affected by the COVID-19. This loan is up to $2 million. The interest rates on this loan for nonprofits is 2.625%. For small businesses, it is 4%. It has a 30 years to pay it off. They really are asking you to apply for this loan online. However, if you're not as savvy online and you still need to reach out to SBA, you can actually call their service center. That number is 1-800-659-2955. And I have to say, because I did call the number just to kind of see, and there is a long wait, because as you can imagine, people from all over the country and especially your various regions are calling trying to get help. The next loan is it's a partner to the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance. This is why it's important to try and do it online, because the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance is up to $10,000. This advance will provide economic stability and relief to those businesses that are currently hurting, as we all know. It will be made within 3 days of a successful application, and this loan advance will not be required to be repaid. Same thing, who can apply? For this one, any small business with less than 500, it's the same. It basically is the same, and lenders will begin processing these loan applications today, and you have until June the 30th to apply. The next thing I'd like to talk about is something that they call the SBA debt relief. And they may want to listen closely to this one, because this particular loan, it's a relief. It's a program that provides a reprieve, if you will, for small businesses to overcome these challenges of this new health crisis. Under this program, the SBA will automatically pay the principal, interest, and fees of current SBA 7A loans for a period of 6 months. So if you already have of the principal, interest, and fees of current loans. Now, also, they will also automatically pay the principal, interest, to get a loan in the next month or two or whatever. They will pay. They will take care of it for it until September the 27th. This particular loan allows that all small businesses that currently have a business relationship with the SBA, you can there. I would say to all businesses who are seeking this help to go to www.sba.gov for further information. I think we'll be working throughout the rest of the day. I'll probably get some phone calls, and I'll be glad to $25,000, and there is a fast turnaround. And these are loans that you can acquire.
Sam, thank you very much for that information, and we'll try to get additional information on our website, city website, to direct you to these resources. As I said in closing, the governor's order preempts any enforcement of the local order that we previously issued. We again urge compliance, voluntary compliance of all of our citizens with the governor's order. The governor's order extends until Monday, April the 13th, which is the Monday after Easter. Therefore, we know that there's going to be a lot of concern, especially by churches, for what to do about Easter services, sunrise services. But again, those services fall under the prohibition contained in the governor's order about gatherings of 10 or more people in a specific location where they are unable to maintain more than 6 feet of distance between individuals there. So hopefully churches will have time to take steps to make their services available online or through video rather than in person, because all of us know and recognize that we want to do all that we can to slow or stop the spread of COVID-19 and to protect our most vulnerable citizens from being impacted by this disease. And we also want to try best we can to prevent our hospitals from being overcrowded or unable to provide the relief that they want to each and every patient. With that, I want to say thank you again to citizens and residents of Macon-Bibb County for what I know will be their voluntary cooperation. We'll continue to try to provide information about the governor's order as we work to ensure full compliance with the governor's order. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.